Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Well, we've got the information for you right here. And Dave's going to tell you about it.
Absolutely, guys. We use this awesome application called Anchor FM. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First off, it's free.
And who doesn't like free?
Yeah, free's huge. That's what got us involved with it. Second of all, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. So you don't need all those fancy gadgets. You can have them if you want them, but not absolutely necessary.
Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and many other platforms.
Which is great. More people can hear us.
Who doesn't want more people to hear us?
I mean, I like to be heard.
I like to talk.
Another great thing is you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Like 0 people could listen to you and you could still possibly make some money.
That's amazing.
How does that even happen? It's everything you need right here to make a podcast in one place.
It's a one-stop shop and it's all you need. Anchor FM.
Yeah, so you guys, if you want to start this podcast, go to anchorfm.com to get started. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Apogee Podcast. My name is David Carter, and today is a very special episode, I guess we would call it. My co-host Justin texted me yesterday, said that his voice is sounding a little bit like LSU's head coach Ed O'Ron, and he wouldn't make it in today. So I made a last-second decision and decided to text our good friend Kevin Harrington from our last episode, and he graciously decided to co-host this episode with me. So Kevin, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Dude, I feel like ever since we had this last episode, we've had this connection.
I agree.
We text a lot. You take pictures of us.
I do.
You have a glamour shot of me.
I do.
In your phone.
I do.
It's special.
My wife was asked, she was like, are you guys like best friends now? I'm like,
we're getting there.
We're getting there. We got a good working relationship.
That's right.
There you
exactly.
go.
Exactly. But before we get into today's episode, real quick, I want to go over our sponsors again. Thanks to CrossFit Greer for continuing to sponsor this episode for us. Again, if you are interested in getting involved with CrossFit, specifically CrossFit Greer, just reach out to Jen or Reagan Green, and they will give you 10% off your first month's membership if you mention the Apogee Podcast. And then Chris Kane with Blitz Belts, coming in strong for us still. If you're interested in trying out a Blitz belt, which we highly recommend, I think everybody in this room owns one or several.
3.
Yep, 3. Okay. They're amazing belts. Chris was on our podcast a few episodes ago. Very, very interesting story. Anyways, go to blitzbelts.com, pick out your favorite belt, go to checkout, and use the code APOGEE, APOGEE, all caps, and you will get 15% off that purchase. All right, so Kevin, today we have a very special guest with us. She has quite the athletic background. She is a former track star at Duke University with several accolades, including All-American pole vaulter in the ACC in 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011. So we all know how old she is now.
Wow.
Since her track days, she has become quite the local CrossFit celebrity in the upstate, participating in CrossFit sanctioned events including Wadapalooza and Granite Games, both on teams, and most recently qualified for the West Coast Classic, which has been postponed to March, which is super awesome. She's actually going individual for that. She is the current owner of Reaction Collective, and welcome Amy Fryt.
Hey, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for...
Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Amy sent me this intro. It had like Track Star 2008, All ACC, All Conference, and then she went from 2008 through 2011, so I had to condense that down very much.
Wow.
I had no idea she had that many accolades. But that's pretty sweet, dude.
Pole vaulting.
Oh, yeah. Pole vaulting.
What on earth? I mean, I never knew you were a pole vaulter. You know,
Until
so
now?
I mean, yeah, I'm serious. I didn't know. I thought you did gymnastics. I legitimately thought that was your thing.
We could have gone back to about 1994 then on those, with the gymnastics included. But yeah, I did gymnastics for 10 years.
Okay.
And up until my freshman year of high school, and then transferred over to pole vaulting in high school, and did that all the way through high school and college.
Sweet.
Now, did you do track and field or specifically pole vaulting?
Well, in high school, I did track and field, so I ran and I jumped. In college, I just pole vaulted, so field.
So what got you from gymnastics to pole vaulting?
Yeah, so it's actually a very common transition. Usually what happens is the gymnast has gotten too tall, and so they transfer to pole vaulting. Mm-hmm. I did, unfortunately, not have that experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was not your experience.
So, but even so, it's a very easy transition. The same body awareness, the same strength is needed, the same just kind of some element of fearlessness to basically run at a stationary object and close your eyes and hope for the best.
That's what I was going to say. What drives somebody to take? How long is the pole?
Oh, well, I mean,
obviously there's different lengths.
Yeah, I mean, pole vault, I mean, it's a very, if you're into physics, it's a really cool sport.
I was about to say, there has to be a science behind
there's a lot, there's a lot that goes into it. It's actually a very young sport, so it was only introduced in the Olympics for females in the year 2000.
Oh, wow.
So it's very young. So the technology with that is still, I mean, it's advancing, every day with how they, how the poles are made, and even how the runway is made, how the box is made, the pit, the standards, everything about that event is constantly evolving because it is so young. So, but yeah, the poles, they vary in length from anywhere from 11 feet when you're first starting to 15, 16 feet long.
Wow.
So they're it's fun, traveling through the airport carrying a bag of poles. And
I can only imagine.
What, they don't provide them for you at the event?
You bring your own.
Wow.
Yeah, you bring your own. Everyone's got they're all.
Never knew that.
Yeah, the specifications are every pole is made slightly differently. So there's what's called a flex number. So you basically take this pole, you hang it, suspend it, so it's holding on either end, and then they tie a string and a weight in the middle, and then the amount that pole flexes is the flex number.
Wow.
So everyone's got a different pole length, everyone's got a different pole flex number, so it just kind of depends where you are. You can certainly share poles, but for the most part everyone has their set of 8 or 9 that they bring. And
how much does one pole cost?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much is like one pole?
You could. It's like it would be like having a competition barbell times 8. So
sure,
$8,000 worth of poles.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
So going back to like your younger years, where were you brought up and where are you from?
Yeah, so I was born in Wisconsin. I lived there for 5 years, and then we moved to the south. We moved to Goldsboro, North Carolina, which not many people have ever heard about that unless you have anything to do with the Air Force. There's an Air Force base there. But lived there, grew up there, and then went to college in Durham, and now we're here. So
nice.
Some people say I moved to the south, and they say I have a northern accent, and I go up to the north, and they say I have a southern accent, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, you're a hybrid. It's all
I
good.
land on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, especially in Greenville, it's such a transplant city.
Yes.
I would say even at our physical therapy clinic, which we're recording in right now, we're right in Greenville. And I would say 75% of our clientele, Harrison.
Yeah, easily.
Yep, 75% of our patients easily, if not more, are transplants.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of that. Awesome. So going from pole vaulting and attending Duke, what was your major at Duke?
Public policy.
Public policy. That's great.
Yep, that's great.
So is that like an on-ramp?
Yeah, what is that?
So at the time, I had a public policy major, education minor. My thought was that I would go into education policy, and even, more specifically, health education. So working in schools with their physical education policies that are in my opinion, very lacking.
Sure.
And have been for a very long time. So that was what my thought process was with that. And I quickly realized, you know, there's a lot more red tape in there than I would care to be a part of, and that I wanted to have a little bit more of a hands-on, you know, direct, you know, I work with you, your life is impacted, a more of a direct effect on people. So rather than, you know, behind the scenes policy making. So anyway, I've got a great education.
Yeah, no doubt.
But kind of switched gears a little bit after I graduated.
So what did you do? I mean, what brought you to the Greenville area?
Yeah, so after I worked at Duke in a childhood obesity research center, and actually worked at a nonprofit that was connected to that research center. And it's called Bold City Fit, and it was for children who were severely obese and their families, and it was a community fitness center for them.
Oh,
so
cool.
I worked there. Actually, I also did a master's program while I was at Duke. And my final project was to write a curriculum for the participants of that Bold City Fit program. So they had basically, you know, programming, fitness.
Sure.
And so that was part of my my master's degree project, and it was also part of my job. So I did that for a while after college, after I graduated, and then moved to a boarding school in Bluffton, South Carolina, Hilton Head, Bluffton area.
After college?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, this was after college. And actually worked on campus there. It was a health and wellness boarding school.
Oh, okay. You
worked there. Yeah, worked there. Health and wellness boarding school for overweight teenagers. And so we worked with them on healthy eating habits, exercise habits, sleep habits, all that stuff. So
wasn't there a movie, a Ben Stiller movie similar to something like that? What was it called? Heavyweights?
That's it. Yep, that's it.
That's awesome. So after that, then you made your way up to Greenville?
Yeah. So I stayed there for some time and decided it was time to move on. So moved. My brother lived in Greenville at the time. He still does, but he lived in Greenville at that time, and I would come to visit. I loved the area. It reminded me a lot of Durham, so I, felt comfortable and I just loved it and decided to pick up my things and move here.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So at what point did you find CrossFit?
So actually at the boarding school, as part of their fitness program, we did CrossFit style training with them, and the trainer, he's the one that kind of introduced it to me as a sport, I guess, as something that you could be competitive in. He wrestled in college, and so this was he used CrossFit as kind of his post collegiate activities as well. So he introduced that to me, that side of CrossFit to me, and I worked with the kids with that same methodology, and I as soon as I moved, that was the first thing I did was Google CrossFit gyms. So yeah.
So was reaction the first place that you went to then?
I feel I should say yes, but it is. I actually went to Swamp Rabbit first.
There it is. The truth comes out.
Went to Swamp Rabbit first. Went there a handful of times. They're great. Very welcoming. And then I went to Reaction, and at that time, we were located over by the Publix downtown.
The old garage.
Yeah, like an old storage unit. And I walked in and I just fell in love instantly with, it definitely had the old school CrossFit grunge vibe. Yeah. Everyone was just having a good time, slamming bars, and it was a mess, but like a good mess. And,
right.
So I basically, as soon as I walked in, I was sold. That's where I wanted to go. So
when did you realize you were pretty good at CrossFit?
Oh, I don't know if I've ever realized that. But it's been fun. I mean, I've always done individual sports, so it's I feel there's never the top. I mean, I wanted to go to the Olympics one day, so I guess that would be considered the top. But I think the beautiful thing about individual sports is that you're never there, right? So it's hard to say with CrossFit, are you good, or I just try to keep training and get better, and I set my own goals relative for myself, and but they're constantly moving. The goal line is constantly moving, so it's, I don't know.
I would say that you're probably one of the top female athletes in this area.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've watched you grow and compete over the years, and you've definitely become stronger.
I'm trying.
So it's I think of you, and then I think of Allison Stahl. Those two right off the bat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think if anybody thought of like you just said, the top female athletes, those are definitely the first two names that come to my mind.
Yeah.
Well, that's an honor to be mentioned with Allison. She's been a great role model for me, and I very much look up to her and all she's done in the sport.
It's weird. She says the same thing about you.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I think the relationship, and I think that's one of the things we love about the community, and why when we started this podcast, we wanted to kind of tailor it towards this CrossFit community.
I think that's something that you're seeing more though in this community as of late, is the strength in the women CrossFitters has gone up exponentially.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, you're right, man. I feel like every time like a major competition like Crash or Fittest of the Upstate happens, and I'm looking at the list of females, I'm like, who is that? And then I see them perform, and then all of a sudden they're kind of blowing up in the Upstate right here.
Madeline Taylor Bell. I mean, those are
Kara.
Yeah.
They're just Rebecca Hamrick. So
you guys are all getting strong.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
So we're proud of you.
Well, thank you.
We may not tell y'all that enough, but we're all cheering you guys on and everything.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun, and it's very. I think we move better collectively. So I think seeing and being around women, specifically for me anyway, just seeing women constantly pushing the needle, constantly challenging themselves, and never letting themselves just settle, and then it makes then you're like, well, I want to try as hard as they're trying, and it just works better as a collective. I think we have a good group in this region, this area of women that it's a very positive peer pressure.
Yeah.
And we're competitors, but at the end of the day, we all just want each other to get better.
Sure.
Because then we collectively all get better. So it is really special to be a part of that, for sure.
As far as CrossFit competitions go, what was your first competition that you competed in?
The first one I competed in was at Carolina CrossFit, at least the first that I remember. Carolina CrossFit, I did their famously hot showdown.
Okay.
So it was, probably 7,000 degrees in there, and I just loved it. I did it with a good friend of mine. Her name was Emily, and we just had a blast. I think we won. We definitely podiumed. I think we won. Just out no expectations.
Sure.
And we just, and
I've shot 2 of those. Were you at both of those?
This was several years ago. This was probably 5 years ago or so.
Okay.
So, but it just was, we just had such a great time, and it's almost, I remember it just being kind of her and I, working together. We weren't even aware of, anyone else that was there, or the other competitors. We were just kind of, in our own world, just pushing each other, and having a good time. It was just a blast. So yeah, it was, definitely sparked my desire to continue competing, for sure.
Yeah, I think that, sorry.
Go ahead, I was just going to say, and to cap that off, not that you're done competing by no means, but last week, 2 weeks ago, you went down to Pensacola, and you and your friends, Allison Stahl and Toe, and Simmons, came in first.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about that experience.
Well, those ladies, they're so great. I mean, they are, talk about a dream team. I mean, they are my dream team. They are such a well-rounded group of women and so very strong and such smart athletes. And it's always just so inspiring to be part of that experience. And but again, I've never been on a 4-person team, same sex. The Granite Games was co-ed. So it was just like, we were just 4 friends having a good time. And
was Wodapalooza a 3 team?
Yeah, that year it was 3-person, same sex. That was before they switched it for the games or whatever. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, you guys look shredded in your pictures. So as far as being a competitor and starting to become an avid CrossFitter, at what point were you like, I really want to start coaching this and start incorporating what I've learned in CrossFit and start coaching it to others?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always coached in some way. I used to coach gymnastics. I coached track after I graduated. I helped at the high school. I actually helped at Greenville High for a little bit. And then, with that boarding school, we were, you could call it coaching. We're life coaches. And so I've always loved being able to share that, the beauty of exercise or fitness or activity with people. And then specifically with CrossFit, it's just, again, I think, my passion for, the sport, the movement, just seeing how, life-changing it can be for people. Mm-hmm. And, being able to, I think I can articulate movements well. I think I can articulate how to get from point A to point B well. And so, just being able to get that information out there and watch it, click with people. So, I've always loved it. I've always, it's just something that is very rewarding to see and be a part of.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you say the most rewarding part of it is?
Of coaching?
Yeah.
So all of it. I mean, really. I love when people are able to do something that they never thought they could do. What they thought at one point was impossible is now possible. I love being a part of that journey. I like, giving people a goal that is just far enough out of their reach that they aren't currently able to do it, but it's close enough that it's achievable, right? We put it right outside of their comfort zone. They achieve it, and just watching them, be proud to tell someone or tell me or celebrate those little victories. That's probably one of the most rewarding parts. And honestly, just watching people be consistent with their fitness.
So what is the biggest impact? Is there like one particular person that you specifically remember that's like, wow, they've got them to this far? What is the biggest impact as far as coaching has it had on you?
Oh, that's tough. That wasn't on the sheet. What, with a specific person's experience?
Just a specific person. I mean, you don't have to say their name. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody's got a story. I mean, is there a specific one that stands out in your mind?
Yeah.
That was like, you never thought, but then you got them there?
Yeah, well, I guess I would have to say, honestly, being part of that boarding school when these teenagers are at a very vulnerable age, they're, vulnerable, physically and psychologically. There's a lot going on, and there was a student there, one in particular who, she really just thrived, and she came in with incredibly low self-confidence, low self-worth, just low awareness of her ability and contributions in the world. And by the time she left, I mean, she was a new person. She was confident and proud and excited and happy. And so I think just having that mindset shift or that perspective shift, and it transfers it transfers much further into their life. It's cool to PR a lift or clean or lose X amount of pounds, but to have that just kind of whole mentality shift of like, I'm worthless to I'm worth something. And that I think is really what I think fitness is a tool to get people there, to get people to recognize what they're valuable and they have things to contribute, and that they're capable of a lot more than they think. Gotcha. Or than they think other people think.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that we've discussed this before on the podcast. Physical health and mental health coincide so much. The more we learn about the brain and how it operates, I mean, it's undeniable that when people's self-confidence improves, specifically with fitness, whether we like it or not, we do look at ourselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
And as that changes in the mirror, or as we accomplish our fitness goals, we have somebody believing in us and coaching us up and setting, like you just said, those goals that we didn't think were achievable, but then we finally achieve them. What that does to mental health is incredible. So I think that's an amazing story. And I think that kind of sets you apart as a coach that understands something like that,
Yeah, I think I get so bummed out when people say, well, I can't do that, this or that, or I can't do all that CrossFit stuff. And I just I want people to believe that they can do anything,
right?
And as cheesy as that sounds, but that using fitness for me obviously is my passion, using fitness as a tool to get people to recognize that. And so then when they go and face another challenge at work or in their personal life, they're equipped with that confidence, like, this is a challenging thing, I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to achieve this that I maybe didn't think I could before.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think that was one of the things Justin and I talked about when we were just kind of putting ideas together for the podcast, like successful people, right? Success doesn't necessarily mean monetary success. There's so many successful people who aren't wealthy, right? Like, for example, you're successful as a coach, you're successful as an athlete. But a lot of successful people, one thing that they have in common is they have fitness in their life, right? And when they have fitness in their life, like you just said, they hit one challenge head on, they accomplish that challenge. They don't sit their ass on the couch, they hit that next challenge. And I think fitness is a big part of that.
I think fitness is a great confidence booster.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So as you are, you continue to be an athlete, you continue to be a coach. We've seen in the past a lot of, CrossFit gym owners or people who are coaches, they don't really have coaches themselves. But now we're seeing so many people, athletes or gym owners, say, hey, I need to get outside of my box and find a coach for myself so I can continue knocking out my personal goals. Mm-hmm. Do you have something like that? Do you have a coach that does your programming or anything like that?
Yeah, so this is actually, it's interesting, that you describe it that way. It's definitely something that I consider outsourcing. So, as a business owner and, trying to juggle everything at one time, one of those being my own, personal fitness and wellness, that tends to fall to the side, just because I don't have the mental space or energy to commit to that. So I've outsourced my training, my programming, just, so tell me what to do and I will do it. And it's really been very helpful and helped me with accountability as well. I'm with someone right now. His name is Jared Shaw. And I was previously with Vertex Training. So Josh Jeffries out of Columbia. And so both of those guys have been great. They've helped me gain my own confidence. They've pushed me in ways that I would not have pushed myself. So that's really been a fun, and as an athlete at heart, just having, I need to call someone coach, and just have that, knowing that you have that person in your corner and, working collectively towards your goals. It's just, I'm not quite ready to give up my athletic.
I think that's the great thing about CrossFit. And I'm not saying that CrossFit is great just for collegiate athletes. I think CrossFit's great for every average Joe, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's been especially great, I think, for ex-collegiate athletes, because
those are your elite athletes.
Exactly. We would literally have been coached since we were 5 years old, and going through high school, going through college, you've got your strength and conditioning coach, you've got your actual sport coach, you have your dietary and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's gone, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's when you see a lot of these collegiate athletes, they gain all kinds of weight because they keep eating the way they were eating while they were playing, and then they find CrossFit and they're like, oh, boom, right. This is it.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much describes me. Although I was kind of on the front end of it, because I knew personally of someone who right out of college actually got really depressed because he didn't have the team, the camaraderie, the structure, everything that you've had since you're 5 years old. And so he really struggled with that, and that made me very aware that I needed to make sure that I was in a space that gave me that allowed me to still have that outlet, to still feel like I was a part of something bigger than myself, and have that structure. I think there's something in our character as athletes that we need. We need stepping stones. We need a list. We need do this, then this, then this. And so it absolutely to be able to transition straight from collegiate athletics to CrossFit was huge for me, and not really skipping a beat with that, I think, was very helpful in my mental health.
Yeah, for sure. I love seeing people who are a gym owner or a coach go and seek out help to help them or program for them, and not just do the program themselves.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I think it's great for members to see that. You know, I think that's great.
Well, I just think it says a lot for the coaches who take the time to seek out, like as for yourself. I mean, if as being a gym member myself, seeing my coach, if they're doing the same workout, it's like, well, where do they stack? It's like, I would much rather see them doing another workout from somebody else. That way because I know, then I trust them. They're doing it, they're putting in the work too, and they're being accountable to somebody.
Yeah, and I think, the other big part of it for me anyway is, we're constantly learning. So I don't have all the answers. I don't know all the things. So being able to kind of go outside and get information elsewhere, and being on the receiving end of that information. So, we're training, this, particular style, this is why, and being able to bring that information into the gym and bring it to the members and have that, personal experience with whatever it might be, if it's fitness coaching, if it's nutrition coaching, whatever it might be, being able to again go outside, get that information, bring it back to the members, and just understand that we're all constantly learning. So to be a better teacher, I want to be a better learner. So that's also been a huge part and very helpful for me, and just for the gym as a whole.
That's great. I love it. Okay, so let's go to the gym.
Sure.
We've talked about Amy Fryt, the athlete. We've talked about Amy Fryt, the coach. And now I want to talk about Amy Fryt, the business owner. So talk to us a little bit about CrossFit or Reaction Collective. What's it like being a business owner and even more one of the few females CrossFit gym owners in the area? Let's dive into that.
Yeah.
How's it been going? Do you love it?
Yeah, well, it's been COVID-y, so I became a sole owner about 5 days before we had our mandatory shutdown.
Congratulations.
So
wow.
Yeah, so but I did have the fortune to be a co-owner with Brandon Chapin for 5 years prior, or part of the gym for 5 years prior. So I was able to it wasn't like starting from scratch. So I was able to learn a lot from him. He obviously has been in the business a long time, and so I did have the fortune to have him kind of lead the way. But yeah, as a sole owner since March, and it's been but curveballs left and right. But it's great. It's it's challenging in all the ways you would imagine, and rewarding in even more ways. So it's just been fun to be able to kind of let myself basically keep an open mind and see where my creative juices take me, and yeah, it's been a ton of fun, ton of hard work, but as it is a labor of love. So
what are some of your goals going forward that you want to implement at Reaction?
I want to so we're starting a women's only class. And so that's something I've always wanted to do. It's something I'm very passionate about, similar to what we talked about earlier, of just getting women who tend to have maybe a little bit less confidence, or maybe not thinking that they're able to do certain things, get them in a group, have that positive peer pressure for these women. So that's definitely something that has been a goal of mine, and we're starting that on Sunday. So pumped about that. And then overall, just trying to, just bring fitness to more people. I really want, for people to see that it's not a black and white. There's not one right way. And just be as creative as possible with bringing fitness into people's everyday routines and their regular expectations of themselves. So
what do you think you bring to the table that other coaches don't?
Oh, well, I don't want to say what I don't know. Everyone's very capable in their own ways, so I'm sure everyone has their own very positive skill set. So but I will say, my background in sports, I think is very helpful. Like I said, I've been in some sort of sport environment since I was 5. And so just knowing, having that coach-athlete relationship, coach-member relationship since I was that age, and kind of understanding what is a constructive way to work with people and what can be a destructive way, or actually hinder people's ability to move forward. So having that, and having that understanding of what is a positive coach-athlete relationship, I think has been very helpful for me, and working with both sides of the spectrum. Someone that walks in off the street and they don't know, they're starting from scratch, from square one, how to get them to even just begin, all the way up to the competitive athletes. How do you handle, kind of the mental aspect of training? How do you handle setbacks and injuries and that sort of thing, and being able to work on that end as well. So, yeah.
I will say one of the things about you that it always never fails is you always have a smile on your face.
Oh.
I've never seen you sad, whether it's at a competition, whether it's, you're the MC in the competition. You have your bubbly spirit, and it comes across, and I mean that, and it's genuine. Mm. And so, I mean, that's if I went to Reaction and saw her in the corner crying or cowering or just not happy, I would literally turn around and walk out because it's
be
not going to be a good day. So
Yeah.
I want to tell you that for sure.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm definitely not immune to emotions. I think I just hide them well.
Well, yeah, it's tough when you're a business owner. You're constantly bombarded with an enormous amount of emotions, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. The craziest thing about being a business owner is, and 3 of us in here are business owners, is 1 second you can be on an emotional high, like something, you got this awesome phone call, or you just had this awesome experience with a client or a patient, or you landed an awesome gig, and then like literally the next second you can get that phone call and you're like in the dumps, like, oh my goodness, how did that even happen? Like, it's just a constant thing. You're constantly thinking about your business, so yeah, it's it's definitely been a journey, more psychologically than anything else. Yes.
But some of the best, or I guess most reassuring advice is someone told me, the highs are really high and the lows are really low, and to just understand that that's going to be a part of the journey, and not catastrophizing anything if it if you get that bad phone call, you get that whatever it might be, knowing that it's a small part of a much larger picture. And
I think it's just a part of growing up as well, though.
It's true. And I think what you just said, smaller part of a bigger picture, and the longer you do run something, the quicker you start to realize that it's like, okay, this is a really crappy situation right now, but in a couple months from now, you're going to look back on this, and this crappy situation might help you in further where you are right now in a current situation.
Yeah,
so that's a very true statement. So we kind of touched on all 3 aspects so far. I kind of want to go back to just how you stay motivated as an individual, to keep your athleticism going, to stay competitive, and also stay motivated to run a business at the same time. Like, do you have, other than just the push to continue to achieve new challenges, is there like an inner thing in you that just is like, all right,
what gets you out of bed every day?
Yeah, well,
besides steak and eggs.
Yeah, just having that. I mean, having that North Star of what is my purpose? What do I want to accomplish, or not even accomplish, but what do I want to put my energy towards, right? So, I'm a big believer in, we are a being of energy, and so putting out positive energy, and you get, you receive positive energy, you put out negative energy, you receive negative energy. So my big thing is just to make sure that whatever I'm doing, it is the energy that I want to put out into the world. It's the energy that I want my mom to experience, my brother, my dad, my friend, whoever it is, strangers, it's whatever energy I want, the world to be kind of as a collective. That's what I want to contribute. So, with all of that, with the business, just providing a space for people to be comfortable, providing a space for people to work on their wellness, improve their physical and mental health, whatever that looks like for them, as long as it is a positive experience. And then same with the kind of the athletic side of things is just, thinking about, where was I 20 years ago? Who did I look up to? What were they doing? They were, trying hard, doing their best, overcoming obstacles. They were never settling, and wanting to be that, putting out that energy for other people to see and feel and want to be a part of. So it's not, there's no specific, one thing. I think, I think, if we try to pinpoint, this is like the ultimate goal, or this is the ultimate thing, and, life happens and things get in the way and you're not able to get that specific thing, I don't necessarily think that's a failure, as long as, generally this is what we were broadly achieving, and not get too caught up on those specifics. But yeah.
That's kind of where I was going to go with the next question. It's basically two questions. If you could go back to the 20-year-old Amy Fryt, what would you tell her about CrossFit that you know now?
Oh, CrossFit? Okay. I thought you were going to ask like a life question.
No.
I don't know. Lots of things probably. About CrossFit?
I mean, like what you know now, what would you go back and tell 20-year-old Amy?
Yeah, I would, I mean, in general, I would tell myself just to be more aware. I think that, and I thought a lot about this actually, even through, high school and college, moving, having that coach and having just full faith in this coach to tell me what to do. I didn't take as much ownership as I wish I had in kind of understanding why I was doing those things, and just being more aware of what I was doing, why I was doing it, and just having more ownership of it rather, so that now, as I'm, 30 years old, I can look back and be like, well, why did I do it that way? And I would have that answer rather than just like, well, this is just how I've always done it.
Well, what would you tell 25-year-old Amy, the coach, knowing what you know now as a coach?
Oh, well, I'm still telling myself this, which is don't take anything personally. It is a struggle. It is a daily struggle and a daily mantra. In a good way. I mean, it's a service industry. We deal with humans. We deal with human unpredictability and emotions, and to just be okay with knowing that, if people act or if a certain situation comes up, it's not necessarily anything that I should take personally. I do get down a lot on things that are sometimes out of my control. So that's what I would tell myself, and that's what I still tell myself, and what I'm working on as I deal, more and more with people and have those interactions.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer.
What gets you down? I mean, I've never seen you down, and you don't have to answer it. I just want to. I think it's just one of those questions. I mean, like you see people all the time, and you like right now you're just grinning ear to ear. I'm like, but what are things that get you down, and what do you do to combat that?
Well, I think kind of what I just said. We're not taking anything personally. Just anytime I feel as though I've failed someone, or I've not given them what they've wanted, or their expectations were not met, and that really gets me down. Again, just I want everyone to be as happy and as healthy as they can be.
So you're just a people pleaser, basically.
I'm sure that's what the therapist would say. Yes,
I totally get that. I think especially when you are in the health and wellness industry, you want first people to have a pleasant experience. That's the biggest thing. It's like, I'll just kind of bring it back to my clinic, right? Like, not everybody that walks through that door is going to walk out of there 100%, in 6 or 8 weeks, however long a therapy session they need, and depending on the injury, right? But you're not going to win them all. Like sometimes, people are going to still have a little bit of a journey to go to reach that level of, feeling that they're like, okay, I feel 100%. But as long as I can get them to 80%, that's great, right? But the one thing that always concerns me is while they are here, whether they get completely better or not better, is that they have a good experience, right? Like I never want them to leave because of something that I said or something that I did, or they weren't getting the treatment that they thought they were going to get, or like we're not following the plan of care that I set up for them on their first evaluation day, right? Like that's the nightmare situation, and I'm sure Amy probably feels the same way. Somebody comes into your gym with the expectation, and some people might leave because they don't like CrossFit. Like, I'm over it, but if they leave because of something, something they think you said, or the atmosphere or the environment wasn't for them, that's like a shot to the heart.
Oh yeah. So I actually and this is like I said, I'm working on it so hard. I put a sticker on my computer, but the 4 agreements, I don't know if you're familiar with those. It's one of my favorite books. And the 4 agreements of, living your best life, be impeccable with your word, always do your best, don't take anything personally, and don't make assumptions. And so those are the 4 in basically that, scenario that you just described is, it's all mixed in there, and trying to make sure that, you don't make assumptions. Did you do your best? Did you follow through with what, you said you were going to do?
I think taking it personal is probably the hardest one for me.
Well, right. And so again, that's been, honestly a really helpful tool for me as a business owner is, reminding myself of those 4 agreements and just trying to stick to that, doing my best, and just keep moving forward. And like I said earlier, just keep putting that energy out in the direction that I want it to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a baby, it's like you have your therapy here and you have your gym. I have my photos and stuff, and it's like you put it out there into the world and you're like, accept it.
Right.
And then somebody doesn't like it and you're like,
right. It like undoes all of the other
Well, at the end of the day, like Amy just said, if you know in your heart that you put forth your best effort, that's all you can ask for.
Very true.
I think any business owner should live by that. As long as you put your best effort, and you can go to sleep at night knowing that you did everything you could for that person, and it just wasn't for them. Let's talk a little bit about social media. All right. Yeah. So I think when I think of Amy Fryt, I think of her videos that she puts up like weekly of her jumping into the camera saying, today we're going to talk about how we're going to improve our kipping pull-ups. Talk about social media, what that means to you. How much do you spend on social media? Time do you spend on social media? And how do you think social media is going to progress going forward, helping with business life?
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's a hard topic.
It is. It's a good hard. It's definitely a necessary evil. I believe it. It's got. It can go in either direction. But for me, it's been very helpful connecting with people who maybe were part of my life in the past, and were able to reconnect. And I'm actually realizing a lot of people that were in my past actually have similar interests and related to fitness and sports and that sort of thing. And so it's been fun kind of putting this content out there, putting these videos out there. To be honest, I didn't know anybody watched them, so to
Come
hear
on.
I
think they're great. I really do. I think the way you do it, it's just very unabashed.
Yes.
There's no, the production value obviously is just you. It's perfect. That's just what makes Amy you.
Yeah. But it's fun. But then to hear it, I just got a message yesterday. Someone said that I used this video. It was from, last year sometime. And they said I pulled up this video and used it in my class. And, that's huge to me. So, if it's helpful, even for one person, I love doing it. It's fun for me. So, so social media is definitely beneficial for that, getting the content out there. Obviously a much broader audience. I'm not a social media guru, so I just do what, it's like the obvious
You're right, the basics.
things.
Yeah.
But, learning more and more and learning, how it can be, so beneficial for your business. And there's a lot of science behind it or a lot of, algorithms and, back end things that I think are very helpful. And like I said, I think it's a necessary evil where, it allows you to put out a lot of positive content, but obviously then on the flip side, you can get all the other stuff. But it's helpful to connect with people. Remote coaching obviously is very much, it's very useful, especially right now, being able to get, content in people's hands where, they, while they're at home or, while they're, sitting on their couch, and, getting out, getting workouts out there. And so just being able to connect with people, I think is really cool with that. But I, as far as the future of social media, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think any of us know.
May implode.
I agree. I think eventually we're going to have, this is my opinion, we're not always going to have phones. I think like in 10 years, we might not even have phones, right?
Sure.
And if we don't have that device with like the app click right there, maybe we won't spend as much time on social media.
Musk already wants to put a chip in your brain.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, I think now that, the, members that are, younger in their early 20s, they're like, nobody goes to websites. Nobody calls. They're going to Instagram message you or Facebook message you. And that's it. So I'm like,
it's amazing. I was very fortunate with our last hire, as an aide at the clinic. He's 20. Actually, he's a CrossFitter, Jackson Drohan. And
Jackson.
He is excellent on the phone. It's like he's excellent. A lot of the young kids that we have hired in the past, it's definitely a learning curve how to answer the phone, how to talk on the phone, what's appropriate to say on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. But yeah, it's technology is constantly changing. It's hard to keep up. Outside of CrossFit, you got any hobbies?
This is something I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
My other self-talk, mantra is balance. That is something I've been working on for sure. And because it's tough with, combining, your hobby and your work and your friends and your play and your stress and your, anxiety all wrapped into the same thing. It's been, and I accidentally did that, for the past several years. So, trying to separate those out has been, an interesting journey. And, trying to, I am on a beach volleyball team.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So that's been fun. Gets me out of the house, gets me active, but in other ways. I think that's, where I struggle is that most people's extracurricular activities are revolve around drinking or eating. And I don't really love either of those things. So, trying to find a hobby where I can be active or not have to sit still,
right,
is very helpful. So yeah. So the volleyball and I really have been actually trying to be better about visiting and engaging with other people at other gyms and doing a better job of connecting that way so that I can still keep I want to keep CrossFit is fun and not not just a workplace thing, but so trying to connect with people like Jen and Green and Allison and Jen Schultz, who's now up in Charlotte, and just kind of bouncing around and just getting in other gyms, honestly going to Crash, just to get a change of scenery, things like that, and actually make my hobby, help CrossFit be my actual hobby and not just a job. So
I think you should become a comedian. I'm still waiting for you to do open mic night stand.
Oh yeah. Night. Well, yeah, if you need an MC, holler at me.
I love it.
She is probably one of the best when it comes to emceeing.
All right. Let's go to the rapid fire questions.
Oh gosh.
This is a section where we rattle off a question and you just say the first thing that comes to your head.
Cool.
Usually Justin takes, odds, or I take evens, or vice versa. So do you want odds or evens?
I'll do odds.
All right, cool. I got evens. You're first.
What is your favorite CrossFit workout?
Oh, specifically, I don't know, but something with snatches and gymnastics. Snatches and muscle ups, probably. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heavy snatches.
Heavy snatches.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's the second question. What was your favorite CrossFit movement? So I'm going to come up with another question. So go ahead and
Well, I mean, is that your favorite CrossFit movement?
Favorite CrossFit? Well, favorite move. The snatch is probably my favorite movement.
Yeah. Go for number 3. I'm gonna think of something else.
So, what is your ideal rest day?
Oh, lots of dogs. I love dogs. Sunshine, food that I want to eat, and friends. Yeah. Or just laying on the couch all day long. One of those 2 things.
I think that's pretty much par for the course for everybody.
Yeah.
Provided they like dogs.
Yeah, for sure.
They might want cats.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you had to hang out with somebody all day long from a different country and they spoke English, what would be your favorite accent to hang out with?
Australian.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew it. I knew she was going to say that.
Yeah.
All right, that's my question. Go.
Did you want to ask who the person was?
Oh, sure.
Oh,
there's a special person. Who is it?
I thought that's what he said.
No, but you can
Tia,
say that.
Obviously.
Oh, Tia, for sure. Yeah, she's awesome.
So I guess I would ask you the question they asked me. If you had one CrossFit athlete to work out with, who would it be?
Tia. I mean,
and why?
There would be a much longer list, but if I had to pick one, I think she embodies everything about everything that I would hope to be. Her work ethic is just phenomenal. And actually, at the Mayhem Classic, Allison competed, same heat as Tia, and it was a workout I will never forget. And Allison was having a hard time, and Tia walked over there. This is not a comment on Allison. Tia was done, obviously, had been very much cooled down.
Sure.
And she walked over and she was helping Allison through that whole workout, the whole rest of that workout, and she did it again later that day. And it's one thing to see the best athlete win, right? That's cool. But it's another thing to see the best athlete win and also want everyone else to do really well.
Be humble enough to take the time.
Yeah.
I've met Tia at Mayhem too, and she is everything you see.
Yeah.
She is down to earth, everything.
I think it's very interesting, how she was an Olympian and for weightlifting, and she was quoted saying that it would mean so much more to her. This was before she won the CrossFit Games. It would mean so much more for her to podium in the CrossFit Games than the podium at the Olympics. I think that speaks a lot about CrossFit and what CrossFit means to her.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's just, she's talented, obviously, but it's everything else, I think, in the way that she holds herself and her character.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. All right, what song do you play when you're ready to rip out a 5-minute AMRAP?
Oh, currently? WAP.
Jeez.
Pre-WAP, it would definitely be Beyonce, hands down. Really any Beyonce song, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
That one gets you fired up.
Yeah.
All right,
What's your favorite cheat meal?
Oh, well, go back to our earlier conversation. I'm struggling eating, so I don't really have one.
Not even tacos?
She's the first person on here who hasn't said tacos.
Wow.
I eat tacos, but just because they're easy. I have been really into Snickers ice cream bars, but I eat those kind of regularly, so it's not really a cheat meal.
What are they now?
Like the Snicker, it's a Snickers
Snicker.
Yeah, my grandma used to have those in the freezer all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the
Kind
best.
of break your teeth off.
Yeah, man.
In the freezer.
Yep.
If you could be any animal in the world, what would it be and why?
Oh, an elephant.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So, have you ever read The Ant and the Elephant?
The Ant and the Elephant.
Yeah.
Is that a child's book?
No, it's a parable. So, it's very simply written, but it was it's always stuck with me. It's basically the ant is your conscious mind and the elephant's your subconscious. The ant was trying to get to the oasis. He's walking in one direction thinking this is where he's going to have his happiest time, and he's walking, he's never getting there, and then he realizes he's walking on the back of an elephant, the elephant being your subconscious. He was walking in a different direction, so until your conscious and your subconscious align, that's when you would get to the oasis.
Wow.
That's deep.
That is deep. I've never heard that, but I love that.
It's a great book. It's really easy. It's really easy to read. It's a quick little story, but yeah.
That's a Duke education right there.
Yes.
For sure. Duke education. I love that. That's excellent, though.
So if you could be any piece of gym equipment, What would it be and why?
I don't know. I don't know.
It is a hard question.
It is a hard question.
What do people answer with that one?
We've had
week.
across the board. We've had Jen Green said a wall ball because they're nice and curvy.
I would say wall ball because you can you're basically kissing everybody.
Sure. Yeah, there you go. All right, last question. It's Sunday in Madison, Wisconsin, and you find yourself in the top 3 of the CrossFit Games. Which 2 athletes would you choose to go head-to-head with for the top podium spot?
Tia.
Yeah.
And Katrin.
Yeah. Cool. Why Katrin?
She's just, similar to Tia, I think she holds herself very well. She's been really fun to watch as an athlete, kind of come from behind a lot. She's, I don't think that she's never just coasting on being good, right?
Yeah.
She's always, trying to get, herself better in whatever way that is.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like whenever people count her out, she's always in. I think those 2 are arguably, the 2 best female.
They just make it look easy.
CrossFitters ever.
They make it
at least so far.
Yeah, there's so many. Sam Briggs is another one. I think she's just wild in what she's able to do. There's so many. They're all great. But yeah, those 2, I just feel their work ethic speaks volumes. And
yeah,
it just would be fun to be a part of that.
So who do you think is going to win the games this year?
Tia.
Did
you watch the first part?
Who do you think? I think this is a very interesting conversation, and I wish we had more time. But how about this? This is the last question. I want you to give us your top 5. The top 5 females, and we're going to say males too, in the order you think they're going to place.
Okay, you may have to remind me. I know it's Tia, Katrin, Carrie Pierce, Brooke Wells, and
Haley Adams.
Yep.
So it'll go Tia first. I'm gonna go Katrin second because I want her to. I'm gonna say Brooke will get 3rd, Carrie 4th, Haley 5th.
Okay.
And I don't know any of the men aside from
Matt
Matt.
Frazier. That's all you got.
Yeah,
I honestly don't know any of those guys. I feel bad.
Well, that's fine. That you're female. That's all you're interested.
I've just never. I guess I've just never followed any of those.
Matt Frazier's gonna win it. Frazier. We've got Frazier, Olsen. We've got.
I'd like to see Olsen do well this year.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't do well. I'm just saying.
I'm excited to watch Justin Menderes. He's up and coming. He's young. Yeah. He's only 20, 21, 20, something like that.
Really?
Real young.
Yeah.
And what was the Canadian guy's name? My mind's going blank right now. But it should be fun to watch.
I feel bad if you don't know them either.
Yeah. Well, I did 5 seconds ago now. Put on the spot. Anyways, I'm excited to watch. This should be fun. Amy, it's been really great having you on here. How can people find you on social media? What's your handle?
My personal handle is Amy Fryt. So
that's easy.
Regular old Amy Fryt.
Sure.
And then the gym's handle is Reaction Fitness Collective. Yeah.
All right, and just for people that don't know Amy Fryt very well, Fryt is Fryt, Amy Fryt. Anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
No, just thanks so much for having me. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it's been really, really fun. You've been on our list forever, so I'm glad we finally got you in here, and I hope that you continue to follow the Apogee Podcast, and
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully, we can continue to have awesome folks like you on here. All right, you heard it here on the Apogee Podcast.